What's going on, my Black Buddies? The Nintendo Switch trailer has just been released on Nintendo NX. Finally has a name, and it's more like the NS, right? The Nintendo Switch. And we actually have some footage of a new Mario game, a new Super Mario, and we'll just call it Super Mario Switch right now, because that's, just what we're going to call it, because we don't really have any official name for it. And I thought it would be cool to kind of look at what we think this game is right now. Okay, right off the bat, it feels like this game is merging all of the games that we love from this franchise, from the mainline Mario games, which is such a treat, and Nintendo hit it on the head. It's just these tiny glimpses of footage from this trailer, but already we can see so many inspirations and so many cool new things that I absolutely adore. It fuses very well Super Mario 3D World, which I really liked as a game, but thought it could have been more explorative, and this certainly seems like it's a lot more an open world kind of vibe, even though it has the portions that really feel like a level. So I think it's still heading to the goalpost, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are missions in there as well. But it also really reminds me of Super Mario Sunshine, in the case where you're in this new environment, a new species, a new world, and maybe Mario is on vacation or something. Because it seems like Mario is in this sort of very cool Mexican village with all these colorful houses and the fountain and stuff like that. And it looks very iconic, actually. What I notice immediately when I start up this trailer, when I just look at the images, is not only how colorful it is, but can you see in the background there is a giant moon? Well, maybe this is sort of a galaxy kind of thing, where Mario is actually traveling across the universe to these big planets, and not just these small asteroid planets that we've seen in the Mario Galaxy games, but maybe these bigger worlds, right? Mario is traveling to these bigger worlds, and that would make a lot more sense to have this a little bit more open, this exploring vibe from the Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario 64 games, kind of bringing that back to its roots. Galaxy had these spherical things, and it doesn't really seem like these are like the planet shapes that we've seen in Galaxy, but it does seem to, be at least somewhat in space. I can see in the very first frames of this trailer, you can already see some stars in the background. So not only is the moon very visible, or some sort of planet, but also the stars. And they wouldn't just do that, because they didn't just do that in Super Mario 3D World. So right off the bat, we see Mario in his classic run animation from Mario 3D World, which, they're using 3D World as a main preset for the game. That isn't that surprising to me, but it looks really good. I think the graphics overall kind of looked like they had definitely some sort of graphical overhaul. It looks a lot more soft, but it also has a lot more texture to it. We can see right now the little smoke trail behind Mario is also piling up, so that's very 3D World-esque, and Mario keeps walking and then he jumps with that classic Super Mario 3D World jump that we all know and love, and we see a little bit more of the world. We see these light posts. We see sort of a desert area, but this is sort of a red desert. We've not really seen something like that too much. And we see these parasols, we see cacti around the distance, and we see some NPC characters. And NPC characters, I think you can talk to these guys, which would really feel like Galaxy and Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario 64 in that aspect, because there were not really that many NPC characters in Super Mario 3D World, and it feels like Nintendo is very cleverly kind of combining all those games into one. We can see already these sort of mariachi guys with these cool hats. They're dancing in the background. Maybe they're happy. There's some sort of festival going on, because we can see a big light in the background there that might be, where your goalpost or where your mission is. And maybe there's some sort of festival going on. That's why everybody is happy. What to me immediately stands out is just how rich the world is and how much it looks like you can explore it, right? It kind of feels like you can jump on these buildings. You can kind of, you see in the background there's already a lot of stuff going on, and it feels like this fountain in the background is frozen, and there's a lot more detail on that later on in this little tiny bit of a trailer, but it feels like that fountain is frozen, so the people from this town might be actually experiencing their first really cold weather. I also see a tiny door on the left here, which doesn't really say anything that we can read, but there is a character's face above it, which might mean that it's some sort of shop. So maybe we'll have some sort of item upgrading or something like that. Maybe Mario can go inside, maybe Mario cannot go inside, but it really feels like, it is Mario's size and everything. Even though in this trailer Mario's running straight ahead and doing his classic running and jumping, I don't think that you necessarily have to. Maybe you can even run around and jump around a little bit, because it feels like this is a little bit more open. So we see a little bit of bonsai trees. We see a lot of rags around these buildings, and they just look very colorful and beautiful. And I think that Nintendo is really nailing this very cool cutesy style for this Super Mario Switch game. Mario, of course, is doing his classic Super Mario 64 triple jump. The yahoo, wahoo! And it looks awesome. Of course, it's good to be back. The flip looks even lengthier than it was before. And, as we get closer to the city, it becomes more apparent that, we even have these power lines going across it. It's been fleshed out a lot. And we even see graffiti on the walls. It looks like to be some sort of celebration. I keep saying it, but it really feels like there's some sort of celebration going on there. Now, we get the other image, which is, a little bit more straightforward level design. We see Mario here with a slightly different idle animation than he has in 3D World. It makes me think, is this game still going to be some sort of a multiplayer experience? Because everyone is expecting it if it's going to be close to Mario 3D World. You can't just not have multiplayer in that game, right? So maybe they'll just have Mario and Luigi on an adventure. But if they did, maybe they should have shown it in this trailer, maybe. So this upcoming area really looks like something from Super Mario 3D World, right? We have the classic bullet bill cannons, we have some sort of very straightforward path, but what's funny is when Mario keeps going, and right here he actually does the long jump from Super Mario 64, but we see in the background that there are actually enemies collecting down here in the desert area, which might mean you can actually walk there. That wouldn't surprise me all that much. And we see these sort of glass mountains in the background. So could this have been, same with that fountain that was frozen? Maybe this world is experiencing some sort of, glass curse or something like that. Mario is doing his very cool long jump in the air. We see some sort of mole or some sort of, maybe it's Monty Mole in the background popping up right there. And what is cool about this is that the sun flare looks very cool. The graphics overall look a lot like they did, of course, in Mario 3D World, but revamped a little bit. Even on the details of like the bullet bill, which looks amazing. And we see when Mario lands from his long jump, he is doing the classic Super Mario 3D World running animation with his hands spread out. So I can totally see the other heroes tagging along with Mario in this adventure, and we see some coin rings there in the background, and of course those were introduced also in the Mario 3D Land and World games. But here's where it becomes interesting, because we see this projectile coming towards Mario, but in the background we see some interesting stuff. Okay, so we see some coins in the background, we see some enemies right there that I cannot really decipher, but we also see a heart, a flying heart, and the last time that we've seen that flying heart was of course in Super Mario 64. It was a replenishing heart that if you ran through it very fast, then it would replenish some of your health. So they're bringing back elements from all these games. The town kind of looked like something out of Super Mario Sunshine. It kind of looks like it plays in this new planet, so it could be like a Mario Universe type deal. But it also is bringing back a lot of Mario 3D World and some Mario 64 in terms of, the elements that you use and even how Mario looks and acts. And when Mario is actually stopping running here, his hat is almost flying off, which is not an animation that looked like that in Super Mario 3D World, actually. We see some mountains in the background, we see some rocks, and maybe right there in the left corner we see a giant Koopa shell, a red Koopa shell, or something along the lines of that. And in the background we see these giant glass mountains, which looks like it's very unique to this stage. So it's worth noting that in the first part of the trailer there were actually these Samba guys, and they look very close to a certain Pokemon, if you can remember it. But these worlds look a lot more fleshed out than anything that was in Super Mario 3D World, because it looks kind of lived in, and that's what everyone kind of wanted from that game. So it looks really cool, but then, we get a tiny little glimpse of what's happening in this other part of the trailer, and it kind of looks like there is another character flashing across the screen here. So it's not clear if this is still the Bullet Bill moving. It could be, but it could also be some sort of a Goomba running around. And we see, of course, the coins flying in the distance and some more enemies in the background that we can't really decipher all that well. But all in all, it kind of feels like this is a Mario game to kind of fuse all these different Mario games inside of it. And that's what everyone wants from this game, right? They want the planets from Mario Galaxy, but they kind of want the open world kind of feeling from Super Mario Sunshine and the new, environments. But they also want the classic, platforming and charm of Super Mario 64. We're not totally getting all of that with these, few seconds, but it's certainly piquing my interest, because what's cool about this is that there's not that much to go on, but there is a lot to go on in this tiny little image. What's cool too is that it sort of feels like in the beginning we see this parasol, and it kind of looks like these arrows above it are glowing, so they're kind of saying, hey, jump on top of here and maybe you can jump on top of the buildings. There are also some flags, some points on top of these buildings that you can barely see, and even characters on top of the buildings. So for sure you'll be able to travel on those buildings to see a bit more. I'm very curious why Nintendo chose to reveal these tiny parts of the game. I'm very curious what the game will end up being called. I think it will be something along the lines of what Sunshine was, right? And it feels like this is a world where not everything will take place, but this will be one of the many worlds, one of the many universes. So maybe Mario will be launched into space again like he was. But this feels very new, and this feels very much like kind of what we all want, right? We want this world that feels new, that we can explore, that doesn't feel like something we've already been in, a lava world or a snow world or whatever. This feels like something we haven't seen before in a Mario game. We love that. It kind of feels almost like a Sonic game in that sense, because the later Sonic games, meaning Generations and of course Sonic Unleashed, kind of messed with these very cool worlds that were closer to our real world, and it looks so cool. And I wonder what the characters are called, these very cool mariachi characters, and I also wonder what the game will end up being called. My money right now is on Super Mario Universe, and I really hope that there is some sort of multiplayer still in the game. Anyway, this was Blocked Content analyzing Super Mario Switch. For now, at least, that's what it's called. I really hope that it's, a lot more information gets revealed in a direct very soon. But yeah, thank you for watching. This was Blocked Content. Please hit the subscribe button. We'll analyze a lot more from this very cool Nintendo Switch trailer, so don't go anywhere.